Welcome to CC, the Classic Car Show. In this episode, we discover a very sporty Triumph. We get behind the wheel of an Italian sports car sedan that set a new standard in perky performance. Also on the show, another collector shows off his garage full of fancy machines. Plus, we test your classic car memory in Know Your Chrome. And another classic of tomorrow. So slip on your best driving gloves for another journey through yesteryear on CC Classic Cars. Alfa Romeo is a car maker that has earned a reputation for designing and building unique cars for road and race. And the mid-1960s right through to the late 1970s is considered the golden era of the brand. And this is why. The 105, 115 series coupes were built by the Italian firm through this period and cemented Alfa Romeo as a manufacturer of well-made, affordable sport coupes that were an absolute delight to drive. They had style, grace, speed and cost a whole lot less than the competition. Slight design changes and mechanical upgrades, most notably the increase in engine capacity, saw the humble 1300cc coupe grow into a monster 1962cc performance vehicle like the one we see here.
Well, back in the 80s I was looking for a sports car. I looked at Triumphs, Spitfires, TR3s, Alfa GTVs, but once I extensively drove a lot of them, I found that the 105 Coupe was the car that I enjoyed the most.
This is an Alfa Romeo 105 2000 GTV, also known as a Giulia GTV. A four-cylinder fuel-injected overhead cam-powered coupe built in mid-1974. A total of 37,459 of these were built, and in the mid to late 1980s could be purchased for a real bargain if you kept your eye out. With a maximum speed of 195 kilometers an hour, the 2000 GTV was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Designed by Bertone designer Giorgetto Giugiaro, the 105 is considered one of the most beautiful coupes in history. Balance between sports styling and practicality, the sweeping lines look good from every angle. Some menacing and some soft, but always in perfect proportion.
We decided to restore the car in the early 90s, and when we restored the car, it took a good 2 years to do so, even though it was in a reasonable condition. At the time, the idea I was going to turn it into a GTAM, which was the race version of that model. But once we stripped the car, got the paint off, the vehicle was in very good condition. So I was talked out of it, and we've basically done the vehicle more or less like the factory.
This is a good lesson for any pending restoration project. It can be tempting to take what you have and use your restoration as an avenue to convert your vehicle to a higher spec model. Keep in mind that you may devalue your vehicle doing this, even though the restoration may cost more. common opinion is restoring a car to its original state is usually the best option. The Giulia has the best reputation of all Alfa Romeos in terms of reliability and build, and a lot of credit can go to the little alloy power plant that gives these sports coupes their get up and go, and is part of what makes this car so special.
If I had to pick my number one favourite thing about the car is probably the body shape. It has a unique shape to any other vehicle I've seen. Without it being very elaborate, it has really clean lines. But for a two-door coupe, I don't think you can go past it. The other thing that is up in par with it is the twin-cam engine, which is been extensively raced and found to be very successful. I think it's won 5 years straight the European Touring Car Championship with these engines and these bodies. So all up, I think the package was right for the time and obviously the great sports car for now.
Here's a challenge for all you classic car fans. Know Your Chrome gives you a peek at some close-ups of classic chrome. Look at the shapes. Do you recognise the lines? Can you tell which car sports this shiny styling? It's too early for clues, but we can tell you it's a car, it's a classic, and it's very, very cool. Look closely, and we'll give you more hints later in the show. Next on CC, the Classic Car Show. We discover a classic collection, a soft-top classic of tomorrow, and this very sporty English roadster. We are always surprised when we find classic car lovers who have taken their love for classic motoring history to the next level and started their own collection. And what a collection it can be.
My name is Wes Southgate, and I've had an interest, my wife would almost say a passion for cars over the years, particularly since we've been married. She's been very understanding, which is fortunate. But over the years I've collected a few cars, I suppose limited largely by garage space. The car that I've had for the longest is a 1937 Lagonda LG6 drop-head coupe. This car is an open car, a drop-head coupe. It's weighs 2 tonne. It's one of the most beautiful cars you've ever seen, possibly.
The Lagonda LG6 was built in Britain from 1937 to 1940, and a total of 85 vehicles left the factory. Lagonda were a luxury car builder, producing small-run models for a discerning client base. They were merged with Aston Martin in 1949. Wes wasn't satisfied with the Lagonda. He loves the car, but was looking for something that packed a little more performance into his driving adventures.
After owning the Lagonda for several years, I decided that something smaller and less than 2 tonne and 4.5 litres would be good. But it had to be sporting, as the Lagonda is, and so I bought a 1934 MG PA. Now the PA was the last of the midgets with a single overhead camshaft engine, similar to that in the 6-cylinder K3, one of the most famous racing cars of all time.
Only 2,000 MG PAs were built between 1934 and 1935, which puts this example firmly in the rare car status. Costing £222, or about $360 US when new, a good condition MG PA will now fetch in excess of £30,000, or about $50,000 US. A good investment.
The next car I bought was my Italian phase, a Lancia Fulvia Rally Coupe 1.3S. Now, those of you who can remember the late 60s will recall that Lancia Fulvias, the HF version, won most of the World Championship rallies of the time, and it continued on in a civil version, and they're a delight.
Wes had another vehicle in his collection, a very rare 1921 Below 2LS. And when he sold the car, it left space for a new find.
We sold it a couple of years ago, and there's a hole in the garage for an open car. And I thought, an Alfa Romeo, now there's a marvellous historic mark. I should have one of those. And I like cars of the 70s, so I bought a 1974 Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce, 2 litres and front engine, rear wheel drive, very good brakes and a delight. We drive it with the hood down nearly all the time. If it's raining hard, we put the hood up, but it's a delight, particularly around our local hills.
And you would think it would end there. But this collection crosses from 4 wheels to 2. And Wes is also a keen motorcycle rider. In his collection, a Moto Guzzi V50 Mark III 500cc. It seems this collector can't help himself. And just for laughs, he has also found himself a couple of mopeds. A 1969 Honda 50cc and a 1948 British Excelsior. So it just goes to show, classics can be an addiction. BMW have been in the car business for a long time, with a very long line of classic vehicles under their belt. Over the years, the design team at BMW have taken the often box-like lines that have been a hallmark of the marque and chucked them out, in favour of a more sleek, stylish and sportier look. Now, we don't think every BMW will be a classic of tomorrow, far from it. For a car to reach classic status, it needs to have the qualities of style, uniqueness and a limited availability. And of course, it has to last about 40 years, without ending up on the scrap heap. We think the Series 6 Cabrio fits the bill. One of the nicest looking BMWs to grace the roads for quite some time. The 6 Series has either a 6-cylinder power plant or a beefy 4.4 litre twin-turbo V8. So not only does it look good, you can get from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.9 seconds. That's no slouch. One of the things we love about modern cabriolets is the automatic roof mechanisms. No more stopping in the rain, getting out and fumbling with the ungainly cover, all the while getting completely drenched in the process. The new 6 Series not only has an auto roof, but you can take it up or put it down at speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour or 25 miles per hour. Very cool. So what about price for this piece of tomorrow's history? Well, at $85,000 US, or about £50,000, you can go find yourself an existing classic. But if you want the style and comforts of today and enjoy a classic in your later years, the BMW 6 Cabriolet might just be your classic of tomorrow. Volvo is not generally associated with the term classic car, although the first Volvo was built in Sweden way back in 1926. And some of these early Tourers and sedans were well received, The car company became known for building reliable, solid family vehicles that were often lacking in style. It's said S.R. Gabrielson, the president and founder of Volvo, was inspired by the Chevrolet Corvette of the mid to late 50s and decided Volvo needed a sports car in its range.
Here we have a 1965 Volvo P1800 sports car. The Volvo P1800, when it was released, was quite a surprise because Volvo was traditionally seen as a conservative car manufacturer, and to have a car styled like this was something really challenging for the public to perceive from Volvo. The surprising thing was that it was actually styled by a Swede, even though the company attempted to portray that it was Italian styled.
The P1800 found its mark with the buying public, thanks to its sleek and stylish design and wonderful aesthetic balance. As a sports car, the Volvo was reasonably powered, offering 100 horsepower from its solid 1800 power plant. What really gave the P1800 a boost was the UK show The Saint, starring Roger Moore as English super spy Simon Templar. The car played a prominent role in the series and helped the Volvo Sports become a motoring icon.
Interestingly enough, the company that was first offered to put a car in the Saint was Jaguar, who at the time had just released the E-Type. However, they refused because they were overproduction and felt that they didn't need the advertising, so Volvo jumped at the chance.
Only 6,000 of the cars were built in the UK, after production issues resulted in the manufacture being moved to the Volvo plant in Sweden. In total, there were 47,490 units of the P1800 produced between 1961 and 1973, including an unusual, very 60s station wagon. So how well did you go with your first peek? How well did you know your chrome? Here's a quick update. Did you guess it right away, or are you still pondering? Take a look at these shots. We're showing you a little more of the car here, so you should be able to pick it. The answer is coming soon. Next on CC Classic Cars, a speedy English roadster with a real classic look. And we reveal the Know Your replicas of this replica.
Well, they're not a rare car. There's plenty of them around all over the world. The problem of buying one is that Most people think they can buy one quite cheaply, and indeed they can, perhaps around $20,000. But then they need to restore it, and that will cost them another $100,000. The cost of restoration of classic cars is largely well beyond their market value, so it is not good sense to restore a classic car. It is certainly much more practical to buy a car that somebody else has restored and spend $100,000 on it, and you'll probably get it for half that price.
The TR2 and TR3 Triumphs of the mid-50s were quite a rapid, high-performance car in their era. In fact, they became a car of choice for anyone who wanted a career in either racing or rallying. And the cars were
often go out on car club runs and private drives with the car. I don't take it very great distances anymore. Although I have driven at longer distances over the last 30 years, it doesn't get used for long distance runs. Perhaps 50 or 100 miles would be its maximum in a day. I don't think I'm by myself in finding that the reason for owning and loving classic cars is purely and absolutely nostalgia. These are the things we wanted to own when we were boys, when we couldn't afford them, when we dreamed of owning them. The cars that I own today are largely those cars which I could not afford to own and wanted to own, largely as a schoolboy.
So how well did you know your chrome? If you said it was a 1961 MGA 1600, you'd be right. Built in the UK by MG, a division of the British Motor Corporation from 1955 to 1962. The MGA was one of the first of the new post-war sports car designs. A huge success for MG, the MGA was replaced by the even more popular MGB in 1962. Most would say classic cars are a thing of beauty, just as much about style and design as handling and horsepower. Like this classic Alfa Romeo Spider, an absolute delight to look at and to drive. Or this spectacular Jaguar from a golden age of motorsport. Not every car will be a classic, but if a car is loved and kept and looked after or restored, then you never know. The car parked in your garage, in your driveway, or just out the front in the street might very well be tomorrow's classic car.